Lisa Martinez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she finished mopping the last hallway of the apartment building. Her back ached from bending over all day, cleaning floors and scrubbing walls. The old mop bucket had a crack in it that leaked dirty water, but she could not afford a new one. She had been working as a cleaning lady for 3 years now, ever since she turned 18 and aged out of the colony's youth shelter. New Terra Colony sat on the edge of known space, a small human settlement that existed under the protection of the mighty Draconian Empire. Most humans rarely saw the dragon rulers who governed this part of the galaxy. They lived their simple lives, working in mines, factories, and service jobs, while the great scaled beings handled politics and war. From their distant capital worlds, Lisa earned barely enough credits to pay for her tiny studio apartment and basic food. Her clothes were old and patched many times, but she kept them clean and neat. She took pride in her work, even though others looked down on cleaning ladies. Every surface she cleaned, she made shine. Every floor she mopped, she made spotless. Her supervisor often said she was the best worker they had ever hired. The rain started falling as Lisa gathered her cleaning supplies. The weather control systems in this part of the colony were old and broke down often. Water dripped through cracks in the building's roof, making puddles on the floors she had just cleaned. She sighed and pulled on her thin jacket. It was not waterproof, but it was all she owned. Lisa locked up her supply closet and walked toward the building's back exit. She always took the alley route home because it was shorter and she could avoid the busy streets where expensive hover cars splashed dirty water on pedestrians. The alley was dark and smelled bad, but she was used to it by now. As she turned the corner behind the apartment complex, Lisa heard a strange sound. It was like a low moan mixed with heavy breathing. She stopped walking and listened carefully. The sound came again, weaker this time. Someone or something was in pain. Lisa's first thought was to keep walking. The colony had dangerous areas, and strange sounds in dark alleys usually meant trouble. But the sound came a third time, and it sounded so sad and desperate that she could not ignore it. Her mother had always taught her to help others when they needed it, even if it was risky. She pulled out her small flashlight and pointed it toward the source of the noise. Behind a large garbage container, she saw something that made her gasp. It was a dragon, but not like the powerful, magnificent beings she had seen in news broadcasts. This dragon was old and weak, lying on the wet ground with her eyes closed. Dragon's scales, which should have been bright and colorful, were dull and gray. Her breathing was shallow and painful. She was much smaller than the dragons Lisa had seen in pictures, probably no bigger than a large horse. Rain fell on her motionless body, and she shivered in the cold. Most humans would have run away immediately. Dragons were dangerous, powerful creatures that could breathe fire and crush buildings with their claws. Even a weak dragon could easily kill a human if it wanted to. But Lisa saw only a suffering creature that needed help. She had always been this way, caring more about others than about her own safety. Lisa approached slowly, making soft sounds so the dragon would know she was coming. The dragon's eyes opened slightly. They were deep blue, like ocean water, but filled with pain and exhaustion. The dragon tried to lift her head, but could barely move. "It's okay," Lisa said softly. "I want to help you. Are you hurt?" The dragon's eyes focused on Lisa's face. She seemed surprised that a human would come close to her instead of running away. Her mouth moved, and a weak voice came out. It sounded like an old woman speaking through great pain. "Please," the dragon whispered. I cannot move. So cold." Lisa's heart broke, hearing the suffering in that voice. She did not think about the danger or about what others might say. She only knew that this creature needed help, and she was the only one here to give it. "My apartment is not far," Lisa said. "Can you try to stand?" I will help you walk there." The dragon looked at Lisa with amazement. "You would ... help me?" "But I am ... You are hurt and cold," Lisa interrupted. "That is all that matters right now." It took almost an hour to help the dragon move from the alley to Lisa's apartment. The dragon was much heavier than Lisa expected, and several times they had to stop and rest. The dragon leaned heavily on Lisa, who used all her strength to keep them both moving. By the time they reached Lisa's building, both of them were exhausted. Lisa's apartment was on the first floor, which was lucky because the dragon could never have climbed stairs. Lisa opened her door and helped the dragon inside. Her tiny studio apartment suddenly seemed even smaller with a dragon in it, but she did not care. "Here, lie down on my bed," Lisa said, guiding the dragon to the small mattress in the corner. "You need to get warm and dry." The dragon collapsed onto the bed with a grateful sigh. "I do not understand," she said weakly. "Why are you helping?" "Me? You do not even know who I am." Lisa was already moving around her small kitchen area, heating water and looking for food to share. "You needed help," she said simply. "I am Lisa Martinez." "What is your name?" The dragon was quiet for a moment, as if deciding what to say. "I am Helena," she finally answered. I was someone important once, but now I am just an old dragon with nowhere to go." Lisa brought Helena a bowl of hot soup and a cup of warm tea. It was the last of her food for the week, but she did not hesitate to share it. "Well, Helena, you have somewhere to go now. You can stay here until you feel better." Helena stared at the soup in amazement. No one had cooked for her in years. No one had shown her such simple kindness. She was used to people bowing and scraping, trying to gain favor or ask for things. But this human girl asked for nothing and gave everything she had. "I cannot pay you," Helena said quietly. "I have no money, no possessions." Lisa smiled as she gave Helena a dry blanket from her closet. "I do not want payment. Just get well, okay?" As Helena ate the soup, she watched Lisa move around the tiny apartment. The human girl changed out of her wet work clothes and hung them up to dry. She cleaned the water they had dripped on the floor. She checked to make sure Helena was comfortable and warm. All of this she did without complaint. Even though giving up her bed meant she would sleep on the hard floor. Helena had lived for over 300 years. She had seen wars, political schemes, and the rise and fall of civilizations. But she had never seen anything like this simple human girl who gave up everything for a stranger. It was the kind of pure goodness that Helena thought had disappeared from the galaxy long ago. Outside, the rain continued to fall on New Terra Colony. Somewhere in the distant capital, dragon officials were starting to worry about a missing person of great importance. But in a tiny apartment in the poor district, two very different beings sat together in warm silence, sharing soup and beginning a friendship that would change both of their lives forever. Lisa fell asleep on her small couch that night, covered by her thin jacket. Helena lay awake on the borrowed bed, thinking about the extraordinary kindness she had been shown. For the first time in decades, she felt hope. Lisa woke up on her couch with a stiff neck and sore back. The thin jacket she used as a blanket had slipped off during the night, and she was cold. But when she looked over at her bed and saw Helena sleeping peacefully, she smiled. The dragon's breathing was stronger than the night before, and some color had returned to her dull scales. Lisa quietly got ready for work. She had only one clean uniform left, and it was wrinkled from being packed in her small dresser. She heated water for tea and made 2 pieces of toast from her last bit of bread. One piece she ate quickly while standing in her tiny kitchen. The other she left on a plate next to the bed for Helena when she woke up. Before leaving for work, Lisa wrote a short note on the back of an old envelope. "Helena, I went to work. There is food for you on the plate. Please rest and get better. I will be home this evening. Lisa. She left the note where Helena could easily see it dotted work. Lisa tried to focus on her cleaning duties, but her mind kept wandering to Helena. Was the dragon feeling better? Did she have enough to eat? Would she still be there when Lisa came home? Lisa had never taken care of anyone before, and she worried that she was not doing it right. Her supervisor, Mr. Kane, noticed that Lisa seemed distracted. Martinez, you have been staring at that same spot on the floor for 5 minutes, he said. Are you feeling sick? No, sir, I am fine, Lisa replied quickly. She could not tell him about Helena. Most humans were afraid of dragons, and her supervisor might call the authorities. During her lunch break, Lisa walked to the colony's small market. She counted her credits carefully. After paying rent and utilities, she had very little money left for food. But Helena needed medicine and better nutrition to get well. Lisa bought a bottle of pain medicine, some canned soup, and a small loaf of bread. It cost almost all her remaining credits, but she did not hesitate. When Lisa returned home that evening, she found Helena sitting up in bed, looking much better. The dragon had eaten the toast and was reading an old book that Lisa kept on her nightstand. You came back, Helena said, and Lisa heard surprise in her voice. Of course I came back, Lisa replied. This is my home. How are you feeling? Better, thanks to your care, Helena said. But Lisa, you should not waste your money on me. I can see this apartment. You do not have much. Lisa was heating soup on her small stove. I have enough, she said. Besides, you are my guest. My mother always said that guests should be treated with respect and kindness. Helena watched Lisa prepare their dinner. The human girl moved efficiently in her tiny kitchen, making the most of her limited space and supplies. She served Helena first, giving her the larger portion of soup and the fresher piece of bread. Tell me about your mother, Helena said as they ate. Lisa's face grew sad. She died in a mining accident when I was 16. My father died in the same accident. They both worked in the deep mines outside the colony. A tunnel collapsed. I am sorry, Helena said softly. That must have been very difficult. It was, Lisa admitted. But my mother taught me important things before she died. She said that no matter how little you have, you can always share something with someone who has less. She said that helping others is what makes us human. Helena nodded thoughtfully. In her long life, she had heard many speeches about honor and duty from politicians and generals. But she had never heard wisdom expressed so simply and purely. Over the next few days, Helena's health continued to improve. Lisa worked double shifts to earn extra credits for medicine and food. She would leave early in the morning and return late at night. Exhausted, but always cheerful when she saw Helena began to understand the depth of Lisa's sacrifice. The human girl was wearing the same uniform every day because she only had one. She was eating less so Helena could eat more. She was sleeping on the uncomfortable couch so Helena could have the bed. All of this Lisa did without complaint, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Lisa, Helena said one evening, you are working too hard. You look tired. Lisa was mending a hole in her uniform with an old needle and thread. I am fine, she said. Besides, the extra work is temporary, just until you are better. But what about your dreams? Helena asked. What do you want to do with your life? Lisa looked up from her sewing. Her eyes lit up with a happiness Helena had not seen before. I want to open a bakery someday, she said. I love to bake bread and cakes and cookies. I want to make food that makes people smile. That sounds wonderful, Helena said. Do you bake now? Lisa laughed, but it was a sad sound. I cannot afford the ingredients. Flour and sugar are expensive. But someday, when I save enough money, I will rent a small shop and fill it with the smell of fresh bread. Helena felt something she had not experienced in decades. It was a mixture of admiration and heartbreak. This young human had such big dreams, but she was spending all her money taking care of a stranger. Helena wanted to help, but she could not reveal who she really was. Not yet. The next morning, Lisa's neighbor Mrs. Garcia knocked on the door. She was an older woman who lived alone in the apartment next door. Lisa opened the door cautiously. "Lisa, dear," Mrs. Garcia said, "I heard you have been taking care of someone. Is everything all right?" Lisa hesitated. She did not want to lie, but she also did not want to cause trouble. "I am helping a friend who is sick," she said carefully. Mrs. Garcia looked past Lisa and saw Helena sitting on the bed. The older woman's eyes widened when she realized Helena was a dragon, but she did not look afraid. Instead, she looked curious. "Well," Mrs. Garcia said after a moment, "if you need anything, you just ask. I have some extra soup I made yesterday. Too much for one person." Lisa was amazed. She had expected her neighbors to be frightened or angry about Helena. Instead, Mrs. Garcia returned an hour later with a pot of vegetable soup and some homemade bread. "My grandmother always said that kindness spreads like ripples in water," Mrs. Garcia told Lisa. "You help others, so others want to help you." Word spread quietly through the building about Lisa's act of compassion. Other neighbors began stopping by with small gifts. Mr. Chun from upstairs brought some tea. The Martinez family from down the hall offered extra blankets. No one made a big deal about Helena being a dragon. They simply saw that Lisa was helping someone in need, and they wanted to help too. Helena watched all of this with growing amazement. She had spent her life in the imperial palace, where every gesture had a hidden meaning and every kindness came with a price. But here, in this poor human neighborhood, people helped each other simply because it was right. One evening, as Lisa was preparing dinner, Helena said, "I have lived a long time and seen many places, but I have never seen anything like what you have created here." "Created?" Lisa asked, confused. "I have not created anything." "You have," Helena insisted. "You have created a community of caring. Your neighbors help because they see how you help others. Your kindness inspires their kindness." Lisa blushed. "I just do what feels right." Helena smiled, and for the first time since arriving at Lisa's apartment, she looked truly happy. "That," she said, "is exactly what makes it so special." Outside, unknown to both Lisa and Helena, Imperial search ships continued their desperate hunt for the missing Empress Mother. But in the tiny apartment, two friends from different worlds continued to learn from each other, building a bond that would soon change everything. Helena was feeling much stronger after 2 weeks in Lisa's care. She could move around the small apartment easily now, and her scales had regained some of their natural shine. In the evenings, when Lisa came home tired from work, Helena would have tea ready and would listen to stories about Lisa's day. Lisa loved hearing Helena tell stories about the old days. The dragon spoke of times when different species worked together in peace, when honor meant more than profit, and when leaders cared about their people instead of just power. Helena's voice would grow soft and distant when she talked about these memories, as if she was remembering a better world that no longer existed. "You seem to know a lot about dragon politics," Lisa said one evening as they shared dinner. "Did you work for the government before?" Helena paused with her spoon halfway to her mouth. "I was involved in palace affairs, yes. But that was long ago. I am just an old dragon now, forgotten by everyone." Lisa reached across the small table and patted Helena's clawed hand gently. "You are not forgotten. I remember you every day." Helena felt warmth spread through her chest at those simple words. In the imperial palace, she had been surrounded by hundreds of courtiers and servants, but none of them had ever made her feel as valued as this poor human girl did with her honest kindness. The next morning, Lisa woke up to find her apartment warmer than usual. The old heating unit had been broken for months, and she usually had to wear extra clothes inside during the cold season. But today, the air felt perfectly comfortable. She checked the heating unit, but it still looked broken. "That is strange," she said to Helena. "The heater seems to be working, but it was not working yesterday." Helena, who was pretending to read a book, just shrugged. Maybe it fixed itself. Lisa accepted this explanation because she had no other choice. She could not afford to call a repair person anyway. Over the next few days, she noticed other odd improvements. The old refrigerator, which usually made loud noises and barely kept food cold, was running quietly and efficiently. The leaky faucet in the bathroom had stopped dripping. Even the cracked window in the bedroom seemed to let in less cold air. What Lisa did not know was that Helena was using small amounts of her dragon magic to fix these problems. Helena was very careful to make the repairs look natural. She would wait until Lisa was at work, then use gentle magic to heal the broken machines and seal the cracks. It was the least she could do for someone who had given her so much. Helena also used tiny bits of magic to help Lisa's health. The human girl was working too hard and not eating enough, and Helena could see the exhaustion in her face. So Helena quietly strengthened Lisa's immune system and helped her body recover faster from the long work days. Lisa just thought she was feeling better because she was happy to have a friend. One afternoon, Mrs. Garcia knocked on the door with news. "Lisa, have you heard what is happening in the capital? They say the Emperor's mother has gone missing. The entire dragon fleet is searching for her." Lisa looked concerned. "That sounds terrible. I hope they find her soon." Helena, who was sitting quietly in the corner, tensed up but said nothing. Mrs. Garcia continued, "They are offering a huge reward for any information. Some people think she might have been kidnapped by enemies of the Empire." After Mrs. Garcia left, Lisa turned to Helena. "Can you imagine losing your mother like that? The Emperor must be so worried." Helena's heart ached as she saw the genuine concern in Lisa's eyes. The human girl was worried about strangers she had never met, just because she could imagine their pain. "Yes," Helena said quietly. "I am sure he is very worried." That evening, Lisa noticed that Helena seemed sad and distant. She sat beside the dragon on the small couch and said, "Helena, is something wrong? You have been quiet all day." Helena looked at Lisa's kind face and felt the weight of her secret identity pressing down on her. This innocent human girl had no idea that she was harboring the most important dragon in the Empire. If the truth came out, Lisa could be in serious trouble. People might think she had kidnapped Helena or was part of some plot against the imperial family. "I am fine," Helena said, but her voice lacked conviction. "I was just thinking about old times." Lisa reached over and took Helena's hand. "You know you can tell me anything, right? If something is bothering you, maybe I can help." Helena almost broke down at that moment. Here was this wonderful human offering to help solve her problems, when Helena's very presence was putting Lisa in danger. But she could not bring herself to tell the truth, not yet. She needed more time to figure out how to protect Lisa when the Imperial forces finally found her. The next day, while Lisa was at work, Helena decided to test how far the search had progressed. She carefully extended her magical senses beyond the apartment, feeling for the familiar energy signatures of Imperial ships. What she discovered made her blood run cold. 3 Imperial cruisers were already in the new Terra system, and smaller search teams were working their way through the outer colonies. Helena realized she had perhaps days, maybe only hours, before they traced her energy signature to this location. She had to decide quickly what to do. She could leave now, disappearing into the night like she had arrived, but that would break Lisa's heart and leave her with so many unanswered questions. Or she could stay and face the consequences, knowing that her presence would completely change Lisa's quiet life. That evening, Lisa came home with exciting news. "Helena, guess what happened today? Mr. Kane said I did such good work that he is giving me a raise. It is not much, but it means I can start saving money for my bakery again." Helena smiled, but inside she felt sick with worry. Lisa was so happy, so full of hope for the future. In a few days, Imperial guards would probably burst through that door, and everything would change. Lisa would learn that her friend was not just any dragon, but the Empress Mother of the entire Draconian Empire. "That is wonderful news," Helena said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Tell me more about your bakery plans." Lisa's eyes lit up as she talked about the recipes she wanted to try and the kind of shop she wanted to open. She described how she would arrange the tables and chairs, what kinds of decorations she would use, and how she would make sure every customer felt welcome. "I want it to be the kind of place where anyone can come," Lisa said, "rich or poor, human or dragon, or any other species. Everyone deserves to enjoy fresh bread and good company." Helena listened to every word, memorizing Lisa's dreams and hoping that somehow she could help make them come true. This remarkable human had dreams that included everyone, even dragons. Despite having grown up in a poor colony where most people never met other species, as they prepared for bed that night, Helena made a silent promise to herself. Whatever happened when the Imperial forces found her, she would make sure Lisa was protected and rewarded for her kindness. This young human had shown her what true goodness looked like, and Helena would not let that goodness be punished. Outside, in space, the Imperial search fleet continued its methodical sweep of the outer colonies. Advanced sensors probed every settlement, every building, every possible hiding place. The net was closing in on New Terra Colony, and soon the quiet life that Lisa and Helena had built together would be changed forever. But for now, in the warm glow of the small apartment, two friends from different worlds shared stories and dreams, treasuring these precious moments of peace before the storm arrived. Lisa had been living with Helena for almost a month now, and she could not imagine life without her dragon friend. Helena had become like family to her. They cooked together, shared stories, and Helena even helped Lisa practice reading the old books she borrowed from the colony library. Lisa's reading had never been very good, but Helena was a patient teacher. On this particular morning, Lisa woke up with a strange feeling. Something was different, but she could not figure out what it was. Helena was already awake, sitting by the small window and staring out at the street below. She looked worried. "Good morning," Lisa said cheerfully. "Did you sleep well?" Helena turned from the window with a forced smile. "Good morning, dear one. Yes, I slept fine." But Lisa could tell Helena was lying. The dragon's hands were shaking slightly, and her eyes kept darting back to the window. Lisa had learned to read Helena's moods over the past weeks, and right now her friend was clearly anxious about something. "Helena, what is wrong?" Lisa asked gently. "You can tell me." Helena opened her mouth to speak, then closed it again. She had been dreading this moment, knowing it would come eventually. Last night, her magical senses had detected Imperial ships entering the colony's atmosphere. They would find her soon, probably today. "Lisa," Helena began carefully, "what would you do if you discovered that someone you cared about had been lying to you? Not to hurt you, but to protect you?" Lisa sat down next to Helena on the couch. "I would want to understand why they felt they needed to lie, and I would hope they would trust me enough to tell me the truth." Helena nodded slowly. "And what if the truth was bigger and more complicated than anything you had ever imagined?" "Then I would need time to understand it," Lisa said. "But I would still want to know." Before Helena could respond, there was a loud knock at the door. Both women froze. Lisa never had visitors except for her neighbors, and they always knocked. Softly. This knock was firm and official, the kind that meant business. Lisa walked to the door and looked through the small window. Her heart stopped. 3 figures in dark uniforms stood outside, and she could see the golden dragon symbol of the Imperial Guard on their shoulders. Behind them stood more figures, and Lisa could make out the shapes of weapons. "Helena," Lisa whispered, backing away from the door. "There are Imperial Guards outside." Helena closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "I know." The knock came again, louder this time. A deep voice called out, "Open in the name of the Dragon Empire. We are conducting an official search." Lisa looked at Helena in confusion. A search? What could they want here? Then a terrible thought struck her. "Helena, they are not here because of you, are they? You said you were involved in palace affairs. Are you in some kind of trouble?" Helena stood up slowly, her full height, making her seem larger and more imposing than Lisa had ever seen her. "Lisa, there is something I must tell you. Something I should have told you weeks ago." The guards knocked a 3rd time. "We know you are in there. Open the door immediately." Lisa's hands shook as she reached for the door handle. She had no choice but to let them in. As the door opened, 6 Imperial Guards in full battle armor stepped into her tiny apartment. Their leader, a tall dragon with silver scales, looked around the small space with obvious disdain. "We are searching for someone of great importance," the silver dragon announced. "Our sensors indicate a powerful magical signature from this location." Lisa stepped protectively in front of Helena. "This is my home. You have no right to frighten us like this." The silver dragon looked down at Lisa with surprise. It was unusual for a human to speak so boldly to Imperial Guards. "Step aside, human. We have business with the dragon." "No," Lisa said firmly. "Helena is my friend and my guest. If you want to talk to her, you can ask politely." The guards looked shocked. No one spoke to them this way, especially not a poor human cleaning lady. The silver dragon was about to respond angrily when Helena stepped forward. "It is all right, Lisa," Helena said softly. She looked at the silver dragon and spoke in a voice that suddenly carried tremendous authority. "Commander Drake, I assume. You have been looking for me." The silver dragon's eyes widened in recognition. He immediately dropped to one knee, and all the other guards followed his example. "Your Imperial Majesty," he said in a voice filled with relief and respect. "We have been searching everywhere for you. The Emperor has been sick with worry." Lisa stared in complete confusion. "Imperial Majesty? What are you talking about?" Helena turned to Lisa with tears in her ancient eyes. "Lisa, my full name is Helena Draconius. I am the Empress Mother of the Dragon Empire. I am the Emperor's mother." The room fell completely silent. Lisa felt like the world had stopped spinning. She looked at Helena, then at the guards kneeling on her floor, and back at Helena. "You are you are the Emperor's mother?" "Yes," Helena said quietly. "I am sorry I did not tell you sooner. I was afraid you would treat me differently if you knew." Lisa sat down heavily on her couch, trying to process this information. The dragon she had been sharing soup with, the friend who helped her read books, the gentle creature she had nursed back to health, was the most powerful dragon in the known galaxy. "But you were sick and alone in the alley," Lisa said weakly. "You had no money, no home." "I had run away from the palace," Helena explained. "I was tired of the politics and the fake smiles, and the people who only pretended to care about me because of my position. I wanted to see what the real world was like, to find genuine friendship. But I got lost and became ill, and I thought I would die alone in that alley." Commander Drake cleared his throat. "Your Majesty, if I may, the Emperor has mobilized half the Imperial fleet to search for you. We must return to the capital immediately." Helena raised her hand to silence him. In a moment, Commander. She turned back to Lisa, who was still staring at her in shock. Lisa, please say something. Are you angry with me? Lisa looked at Helena for a long moment. Then she said, You helped me read. You made tea for me when I came home tired. You listened to my dreams about opening a bakery. You were kind to my neighbors. She paused, then added, You are still Helena to me. Helena felt her heart lift, even knowing who I really am. You are still my friend, Lisa said simply. But I wish you had trusted me with the truth. I wanted to, Helena said, but I was afraid. People change when they learn about my title. They become nervous and formal, or they start asking for favors. You were the first person in decades to treat me like a normal being, and I did not want to lose that. Commander Drake shifted impatiently. Your Majesty, we really must go. The Emperor believes you may have been kidnapped. Helena looked around the tiny apartment that had been her home for the past month. At the small bed where she had recovered her health. At the kitchen where Lisa had cooked countless meals for her. At the couch where they had shared so many conversations. Commander, Helena said in her royal voice, I want you to meet Lisa Martinez. She saved my life and cared for me when I had nothing. She is the kindest, most selfless person I have ever met. Commander Drake looked at Lisa with new respect. You cared for the Empress Mother? I cared for my friend, Lisa corrected him. Helena smiled at that answer. After all these weeks, Lisa still saw her as a friend first and royalty second. It was exactly what Helena had hoped for, but never dared to expect. The Imperial transport ship was unlike anything Lisa had ever seen. It was massive, gleaming with polished metal and decorated with golden dragon symbols. Helena had insisted that Lisa come with her to the capital, despite Lisa's protests that she did not belong in such grand places. You belong wherever I say you belong, Helena had said firmly. And right now, I need my friend with me. During the journey to the capital, Helena told Lisa about her son, Emperor Marcus Draconius. He is a good ruler, Helena explained, but he has forgotten how to see beyond the palace walls. The nobles and advisors tell him what they think he wants to hear, not what he needs to know. Lisa sat by the large window, watching stars pass by. Are you nervous about seeing him again? A little, Helena admitted. He will be angry that I left without telling him. But mostly, he will be relieved that I am safe. When they arrived at the imperial capital, Lisa's mouth fell open. The city stretched as far as she could see, with towers that reached into the clouds and bridges made of crystal spanning between floating platforms. The imperial palace sat at the center of it all, a magnificent structure that looked like it was carved from a single enormous jewel. Helena noticed Lisa's amazement. It is beautiful, but sometimes beauty can make you forget about the simple things that really matter, she said quietly. Inside the palace, Helena led Lisa through corridors lined with art and treasure worth more than entire planets. Servants and nobles bowed deeply as they passed, their eyes curious about the plainly dressed human walking beside the Empress Mother. They entered a vast throne room where Emperor Marcus waited. He was younger than Lisa had expected, probably only in his second century of life, which was still young for a dragon. His scales were deep gold, and his eyes were the same ocean blue as his mother's. When he saw Helena, Emperor Marcus rushed down from his throne and embraced her. Mother, where have you been? I was so worried. I thought something terrible had happened to you. I am fine, my son, Helena said, returning his embrace. I needed some time away from the palace, and I learned something very important during my absence. Emperor Marcus stepped back and noticed Lisa for the first time. Who is this human? This is Lisa Martinez, Helena said proudly. She saved my life and cared for me when I was sick and alone. She is the reason I am standing here today." Emperor Marcus looked at Lisa with confusion. "I do not understand. You are sick? Alone? But you are the Empress Mother. How could you be alone?" Helena gestured for Lisa to sit in one of the ornate chairs near the throne. Then she told her son the entire story. She explained how she had run away from the palace, how she had collapsed in the alley, and how Lisa had found her and brought her home. "This human girl had almost no money," Helena continued, "but she shared everything she had with me. She worked extra hours to buy me medicine. She gave me her bed and slept on the floor. She never asked for anything in return." Emperor Marcus listened in growing amazement. "But surely she knew who you were?" "No," Helena said. "I told her I was just an old dragon with nowhere to go. And she helped me anyway, simply because I needed help." Lisa spoke for the first time since entering the throne room. "Your Majesty, I did not help Helena because of who she was. I helped her because of who she is. She is kind and wise and funny. She helped me read books and made me feel less lonely. She gave me friendship when I needed it most." Emperor Marcus stared at Lisa. In his entire life, no one had ever spoken to him so directly and honestly. Most people who addressed him used flowery language and complicated phrases designed to flatter or impress. But this human girl spoke simple truth with no decoration. "Mother," Emperor Marcus said slowly, "what do you want me to learn from this?" Helena smiled. "I want you to understand what real loyalty looks like. Lisa was loyal to me, not because she had to be, but because she chose to be. She cared for me not because I could reward her, but because caring for others is part of who she is." Over the next several days, Helena introduced Lisa to the imperial court. At first, the nobles and advisors did not know what to make of this poor human, who seemed to have the Empress Mother's complete trust. Some tried to dismiss her as unimportant. Others attempted to use her to gain favor with Helena, but Lisa handled all of these political games with the same simple honesty she brought to everything else. When a wealthy duke tried to bribe her to put in a good word for him with Helena, Lisa looked confused and said, "If you want Helena to like you, why do you not just be nice to her?" When a scheming countess suggested that Lisa must want great riches in exchange for caring for the Empress Mother, Lisa replied, "I did not take care of Helena to get anything. I took care of her because she needed help." These responses baffled the court nobles, who were used to complex negotiations and hidden meanings in every conversation. But Emperor Marcus began to see what his mother meant about real versus artificial loyalty. Helena proposed a series of new policies to the Imperial Council. She wanted to create programs to help elderly citizens of all species who had no families to care for them. She suggested building community centers where different species could gather and learn from each other. Most importantly, she recommended that the empire start paying attention to the needs of working-class people in the outer colonies. "These people are the foundation of our empire," Helena argued during a council meeting. "They work in our mines, grow our food, and keep our cities running. Yet we ignore them unless we need something from them." Some council members objected that such programs would be expensive and unnecessary. But Helena had a powerful example to point to. "Look at Lisa," she said. "She had almost nothing, but she created a community of caring in her neighborhood. Her neighbors helped each other because they saw her example of kindness. Imagine what we could accomplish if we supported and encouraged such communities throughout the empire." Emperor Marcus was convinced by his mother's arguments, but more importantly, he was convinced by Lisa's example. He had watched this human girl navigate the imperial court with grace and dignity, never losing her essential kindness. Despite being surrounded by wealth and power that could have corrupted her, Lisa herself asked for very little. When Emperor Marcus offered her a grand title and a palace of her own, she politely declined. "I just want to open my bakery," she said. "That is still my dream." "Then you shall have the finest bakery in the empire," Emperor Marcus declared. "Not the finest," Lisa corrected him. "Just one where everyone feels welcome." So Lisa's bakery was built in the heart of the capital city, designed exactly as she had dreamed it. It had comfortable tables and chairs, warm lighting, and the constant smell of fresh bread. But most importantly, it had a sign by the door that read, "All species welcome." Helena visited the bakery every day, usually sitting by the window where she could watch the street and greet customers. She had officially retired from most of her royal duties, preferring to spend her time helping Lisa run the bakery and talking with the diverse customers who came there. The bakery became famous throughout the empire, not for its luxury, but for its warmth. Wealthy dragons sat at the same tables as human factory workers. Alien diplomats shared coffee with local students. Children of all species played together while their parents enjoyed Lisa's homemade bread. Emperor Marcus often visited in disguise, marveling at how his mother and Lisa had created exactly what Helena had envisioned, a place where differences in wealth and species meant nothing compared to the simple human values of kindness and community. That word of the story spread across the galaxy. The tale of a poor human cleaning lady who had cared for the Empress Mother became legend, proving once again that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their weapons, but their capacity for unconditional compassion. And in her small bakery, surrounded by friends of every species, Lisa Martinez continued to do what she had always done, making the world a little better one act of kindness at a time.